right, everybody. This is MrTMoney1993 with my podcast, Straight Facts with MrTMoney1993. Tonight I have special guest Tony from Cat Chronicles. How you doing, Tony?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm happy to see the Saints come out swinging. The Ravens come out swinging on the Saints tonight. Steve Smith looking like he's getting feisty, and strangely going to pull the Carolina Panthers within a half game, and we ain't even playing. Old Ty the bye.
Yeah, man. I called it earlier in the week. I said Smitty getting two tonight. He already got one on his first drive. I think he can do it.
Yeah, I think you said last week when we were talking that he's just eating up the NFC South nonstop. So it's good to see that. You know, I mean, at first we didn't want it when we had to play him, but since that's in the past, might as well eat up everybody else too.
Yeah, I mean, he has 4 touchdowns this year. What, 2 of them was against us. Yeah. I know he had one against the Falcons.
And I think he had one maybe in the first game of the season versus the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that when he spazzed out? It was.
yeah, when he was talking, bringing back up Carolina and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll talk about him and if he needs to be, if what he would have done if he was a Panther still and how we would have looked different at some point.
Yeah. So out of 5 touchdowns, 4 against the NFC South. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty.
Put 2 more on it tonight and call it a season, right?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So speaking about that, I mean, I did kind of call last week. I said everybody in the South is losing this week. Hopefully that'll happen. The Ravens will finish strong and finish this game. And like I said last week, man, I think we can be in the lead by the end of next week. I really think we can. We got the Vikings coming up. The Falcons have the Cardinals, who are even going to be even more upset coming off a loss to didn't they lose to Seattle?
And, on the road with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, and the Saints will have the Steelers in Heinz Field next week. And the Bucks, I can't remember who they got, but I mean, do they really matter?
The Bucks play like Green Bay, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, so like I said, I feel like we can be in the division lead by next week.
But see, that's the cruddy part about this whole thing, T-Money, is that we've been in the division and we could have rolled away with the division, and we didn't even have to play good football. You could have played kind of okay football and own this division and been in the playoffs, and I think that's why so many people have been upset, man, is that we're in it. Yeah, it's hard, but man, we have played like crud.
But I mean, honestly, I feel like at the end of the day we should have beat Atlanta. I know we didn't, but I feel like we should have beat them. I feel like the Seahawks is another game. We haven't been looking as bad as when we were playing the Ravens and the Steelers, and we've been in games for the most part in the past couple of weeks, besides maybe the Eagles game.
And Green Bay.
Green Bay, when was that? 4 weeks ago?
So here's the thing, is that we've been kind of in some games, but we've also been blown the hell out. Because we've had the Ravens,
the Eagles game.
We had the Steelers, we had Green Bay, we have Philadelphia. And then you can go ahead and say the Atlanta game until the end, when it was all of a sudden again. You know what I'm saying? So the wheels have come off the bus a couple of times, and I think that's why it's so hard to swallow.
Yeah, but I mean, that Eagles game, we was in it for a while. I mean, it started getting blasted towards the end, but remember, it was a point we had it down to, what, a 1-score game?
Yeah, I think going into half, we were only 10 points behind.
Yeah.
Or something like that towards the end of the second quarter. We had 3 turnovers, I think, and no score. And we were in, like you said, a score. I think it was 10 points towards the end. So you're right, but that's the thing, is that, man, imagine if we would have won 2 of those games. One that we were kind of in, and another one that we kept it close, maybe. You would have already been locked up almost.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I guess the one thing that helped is, I mean, I know we've been playing bad, but we have the easiest schedule left, and we don't play a lot of good teams. Even our out-of-division games, we got, Vikings, we got Browns, and then we still got the Bucks, and then the rest is divisional games, which 2 are going to be, on the road and 1 at home.
Yeah, I know we play the Saints on the road. We play the Falcons on the road, and I think Tampa Bay is at home.
Yeah, which
And
New
the
Orleans
Saints,
and
by the way,
Tampa.
just got in the end zone. Jimmy Graham just scored a touchdown for all your fantasy updates. Yeah. So now it's tied right then. So here's the other thing is that, okay, let me ask you a question about this then, because since we're talking about how we could be in this, Trent Dilfer tonight, I saw it on Twitter, said that the Saints can lollygag for the rest of the season and still win and they're still going to win the division. So does Carolina, think about this. This is where, on top of, like I said, why we were upset, does you really think Carolina could go on a tear, on a run, even against this bad schedule?
I mean, if you're going by the trends of even Ron Rivera, even in our bad years, it's something that he done. Even in our 6-10, 7-9 years, we normally got hot. What last month? Because it was always, is Ron gonna lose his job? Or are we gonna keep Ron Rivera? Then we get hot at the end of the season. They say, hey, that looks like we're growing. That's gonna translate into next year. I mean, that's how he kept his job before we had this 12-4 year anyway.
Yeah, but I think, how long has he been the coach? 3 seasons?
Is this his fourth? Since 2011.
He came with Cam, right?
Yeah.
Him and Cam came in at the same time. I think they only won 2 games. No, 4 games that first season, right? And then 6 games the year after. Cam Newton, how many games did he win as a rookie? I think it was only 4.
6. He went 6-10, 7-9, 12-4, and then whatever we're gonna finish this year.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up because I thought Cam only won 4 games his first season, but I could be wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 6.
He came in 2011, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, where is it? We won 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, you're right. 5, 6. You're right, because we got hot at 2 wins back to back at the end. Texans and Bucks.
Yeah,
kind of like this year, like playing the Vikings and the Bucks.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, yeah, it was 6-10, 7-9, 12-4, and then whatever we finish this year.
Which is right now 3-7-1.
Yeah, but
right?
I don't think we're gonna finish with 3 wins. Honestly.
All right, so what do you think then is how bad? I mean, should we have been better this season?
Walking into the year, everybody knows I definitely felt like we were gonna have a good record, but I mean, considering our injury and stuff, yes, we should be better, but to expect with our suspensions and injuries and who we kind of lost, expecting that whole 12-4 was, I think, a lot. Which before the season, I think I was saying somewhere from 10 to 12 wins was what I thought we was going to get with the way our roster was looking at the beginning of the year.
Would you have considered 8-8 a bad season?
After last year, honestly, yes.
Right now, I would consider 8-8 like damn gold.
I'd be excited about 8-8. 8-8 probably can shoot maybe the way everybody else's schedule is looking. If we don't win it, honestly, maybe 5 or 6 games wins this division.
Yeah, I think 7 gets it easy.
Yes, 7 gets it for sure. But I think if you can get 5 or 6 in this division this year, you can definitely be right there about winning division. Which I know some of the Panthers fans, like Claude on Twitter, he doesn't want us to win a division. He wants the top 10 pick. He wants all of that. Which I mean, it would be nice, I guess, but that's not what I want, man. I feel like if we continue to get healthy, that we can do some things. Because we're just not getting Mike Tolbert right now. We're just now. When's Frank coming back? After this game or this game?
I don't know, man. I just figured he was gone for the whole season, man. I mean, are they really going to let him play, and will he make a difference even if he comes back? He hasn't played a
Uh,
single game all year, I don't think. He's already been suspended once. I
people
mean,
were
what's he really
saying,
gonna
people
do?
were saying, is Josh Gordon gonna be Josh Gordon? Look what he did his first game. He
Yeah,
put
but
up a what?
Frank Alexander and Josh Gordon are not even close. Josh Gordon is like, did he look fat to you, by the way, a little bit?
Who, Gordon? No,
Yeah. Looks like he got a little up in here. I know he's wearing the jacket.
but I mean, no, they're not comparable as far as
But
talent.
they're
But
not.
I feel
Yeah.
like, I feel like what we're gonna ask Frank Alexander to do is, can you at least be an edge setter on for the run? I don't think we really need him to pass rush that much. I would be a
Just
lot
for
more.
one game? How many games is he going to help you win? 2? So that gets us to 5 wins.
I would be a lot more comfortable with him and Mario Addison being the rotation than Wes Horton and Mario Addison being the rotation.
Yeah, but don't you think that's all too little, too late?
Mm, I mean, with this division, nothing is too little, too late. Honestly, the Bucks still kind
So
of
whoever wins in week 17, the last season basically goes to the playoffs.
It might be that we play who? Don't we got Atlanta week 17, don't we?
Yeah, always. 2 years in a row, Atlanta on the last week, and we got Cleveland before them, dude. And you know that ain't gonna be no good easy game.
I don't think it's gonna be easy, but honestly, playing Cleveland is not a game where I walk in. I'm like, oh my god, we have almost no chance to win this game. Which that's not me in general anyway.
No, you ain't never said that about any game, dude.
But the Browns don't scare me that much, and they honestly, if Mike Smith knew what he was doing, should have lost that game against Atlanta. Which is why
You think that was all bad coaching?
it's bad logic. It's 3rd and 2 with what, 40 seconds left, 50 seconds left. Whether you get the first is not important at all. You want to, first of all, you pay Steven Jackson all that money.
What if he was worried about his field goal kicker in general, and he wanted to actually get the first down, and they just screwed up?
If you want to get the first down, you don't run that play. You have Julio Jones and Roddy Wright, and your play design is a streak to Devin Hester. That's not, I want to get the first down.
What do you think they were thinking?
I'm thinking, first of all, he put a lot of trust in Meg Ryan, which can be good or bad. Second of all, I feel like that's totally a lack of trust in your defense. I mean, I think he had to feel like.
I mean, is that unreasonable though?
If you don't have,
I mean, they couldn't stop anything anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he shouldn't have a trust in his defense because they couldn't stop him.
But they would have been able to run the clock down at least a little bit. If you can't trust your defense to stop somebody for 30 seconds or 20 or whatever would have been left, then I don't know what you plan on doing if you can't trust your defense to stop them that long. Instead,
So
you get
it's just a total mistake. Like, why didn't they should have just fired him right there then?
I agree. I feel like that totally lost him his job, even if they win a division. Before I was saying if they win a division and make the playoffs and they win maybe a playoff game or two, he still had a chance to win it. But this is 2 blown time management situations in the past couple games. Because he did the same thing when they played Detroit and London.
Yeah.
And gave them too much time and allowed them to come back and win the game. So, like I said, I feel like Mike Smith is definitely gone. And I've heard they're thinking about trying to get Rex Ryan to be head coach, which will definitely be crazy to see him 2 times a year.
And against his brother. Well, his brother won't be
with
New Orleans.
Yeah, he might be.
He definitely ain't going to be there next year. I don't think so. What do you think? You think that's a good fit for New Orleans?
I don't like Rex Ryan as a head coach in general anyway. No matter what the team. I feel like Rex Ryan
Why
should
is
be.
that?
You can handle a little bit more eccentric behavior, in my opinion, when you're a coordinator, as far as the kind of stuff he does and stuff he pulls. But to be a head coach, I don't think. To me, he's not professional enough, really. And second of all, head coach, you have to. I mean, I know you can have your specialty of what you like, but he has no knowledge of offense at all. How many times have we heard Rex Ryan say, "Oh, I don't know what the play call was. I don't know what we were thinking on that offensive play." We've heard him say that more than once. So if you're that focused, that specialized on defense, be a defensive coordinator.
Do you think Ron Rivera is like that?
I think Ron Rivera still has a little bit of a say so in the offense, but I think he trusts his Mike Shula way too much.
But do you think he's kind of like maybe just like Rex Ryan to a certain degree? I mean, not entirely. You know, I mean, obviously, he might be a little bit smarter or not more knowledgeable about offense than Rex Ryan is, but they're that kind of. Do you think Rex Ryan plays a conservative like Ron Rivera? I mean, I don't feel like Rex Ryan is a gambler when it comes to what the Jets do.
I mean, nobody who's a defensive specialist head coach does for the most part, really, unless you have an offensive coordinator who's that creative. Other than that, most of the guys that were defensive coordinators for years and years and years, and they become head coaches, they think that same way. They almost always want to trust in their defense to win in the ball game, which definitely is what Ron Rivera was for years and years and years. And then he switched it up last year, and then this year he kind of went back to it. Which
that helps. That would help Atlanta tremendously, though.
Again, I think.
Why do you need an offensive coach when you've got Julio Jones and Matt Ryan?
So you don't look lost running screen passes to Julio Jones as gets hit out of his hands.
I mean, why can't you just get a good coordinator? That's what I would say. If I was Rex Ryan, then if I was Rex Ryan, I would want to go to a team that was built for the offense. So then I could come in and put my defensive pieces in and bring the defense up. But you know what I'm saying? It's already well, don't you think it's tougher for like Ron Rivera to go take over a team that doesn't have a good defense?
Feel like
it does have a good offense. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you feel like they're supposed to be able to coach that part up and bring in a couple pieces, guys they know. But
again, who does Rex Ryan bring in that's really that great of an offensive coordinator? Marty Mornhinweg, maybe? And who is Ron brought in?
Do they have to be that good, though, when you got Julio Jones, man? If they get a running back.
I mean, I call their offense not looking the best when you lose Tony Gonzalez anyway.
No, it doesn't look like the best, but I mean, I just feel like, man, if I was a defensive coach, I'd want to take over the Atlanta Falcons. Got Desmond Trufant back there. Well, all right, how about this? Let me ask you this instead of who really gives a crap about the Atlanta Falcons, but what would you rather see, an offensive coach come to Atlanta or a defensive coach?
My two assistants began presenting to the grand jury.
An offense. Which, I mean, Mike Smith's supposedly supposed to be a defensive coach. But I feel like no matter whether they have an offensive coach or not, when you play Atlanta, you're normally figuring, anyway, from a Panther viewpoint, they're going to score 20 to 24 points.
Right.
How many times do we really hold them below that? And I don't really remember any games where we do. Even in the games where
I agree.
Even in the games that we have an impressive win against them, it's like 30, 31, 20, something like that. It's never a game that I can remember in recent history where we come in and just totally shut down the Atlanta Falcons.
Like 12 points.
I mean, this year is probably the lowest we held them to, and we didn't get the win.
Right. Well, maybe I feel like they still put up a decent amount of points that game last year where Hardy had whatever. He had like 6 sacks or some crazy nonsense like that.
Yeah, they had in the 20s, I think.
I mean, I think you're right. I think we have better luck holding New Orleans to low points or Tampa Bay than
Tampa
Atlanta.
Bay, definitely.
Tampa Bay, I've seen us hold them below 12 multiple times.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
I
I was
said
changing my screen.
I've seen the Carolina Panthers hold the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to 12 or less a couple of times. In fact, in 2003 when we went to the Super Bowl, that whole run got started like in week 3 when we blocked extra point and like 2 field goals, and we beat them like 12-9.
Yeah.
And all they scored was a field goal and a touchdown, and they missed the extra point. We blocked extra point. And then we went to the Super Bowl that year. So I remember seeing us shut down Tampa like that.
And even this year, did they score 20? Didn't they have like 13?
Tampa? I feel like they got 2 touchdowns. I feel like they might have had like 17. Maybe not. Maybe it was 17-13. At 2013, I feel like we scored around 20 in that game.
Yeah, well, I think we had 20 and they had 13, 17, something like that.
All right, what's next?
Who do you have you heard the whole madness going on with Captain Muttlin and Josh Norman?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a pretty crazy situation. Do you think it's going to have any effect on the game?
All right, so I think there's a couple of ways that I want to look at this, and I haven't thought about it, or I've only read like maybe 1 or 2 things on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that initial story that came out where Norman just like blasted Captain Muttlin. So we're going to play the Vikings. So my one question is this, does that have anything to do with it? Like, why is Josh Norman speaking out now? We've lost like 4 games in a row. It's not like he has been the reason he's not like he's been playing well, but we ain't been winning games. So yeah. I don't understand why you would be talking. It's one thing to talk junk on the field, and you have the moment to be excited about. But this seemed like planned almost.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody asking, which I'm not sure how it got started, but I'm sure somebody asked, "Do you miss Captain Muttlin?" Or
yeah,
because that's what, especially the phone interviews, they tend to do and we tend to do. I don't know if you ever listen to them. I listen to them through the Panthers app sometimes. And so we'll ask somebody who, like when we played the Ravens, we interviewed Steve Smith and we asked him, and then that's when he said the whole comments about Ron not standing up for him and this, that, and the other. So in the phone interviews, when you're getting interviewed by somebody from another team, definitely when you're getting interviewed by media from another team, that's when that stuff tends to come out.
All right, but I think he said this to the Charlotte News and Observer.
I mean, they still probably.
But yeah, all right. So you're right. That's exactly how it started, because they asked him if he missed Muttlin or something like that, and he had a locker beside Muttlin, and because they they were in the same space, and he basically came out and said I didn't learn nothing from Captain Muttlin.
And worse than that, he said Captain Muttlin held him back, is what he was making. Because he said, what did he say? Because I'm bigger, stronger, faster.
Oh, so he tried to keep him off the field or something almost.
Yeah, that Captain Muttlin didn't help him because he wanted to keep his starting spot.
All right, this is what I say about it, man. As I say that, come on, Josh Norman, you lost 4 games in a row, bro. I mean, yeah, you've been playing well, but trashing the little mini cornerback on the other team. What do you think about it? I feel like it's just kind of cruddy.
One, if that beef between him and Captain Muttlin is actually real, because Captain Muttlin kind of, he seemed a little suspect to me. First, he started out I don't know why he would say anything like that. He pretty much did woe is me, and then the second part of the comments I seen was him kind of shooting shots back at Josh Norman, saying,
really?
He said Josh Norman has talent, yes, he's bigger, yes, but the reason why he wasn't on the field is because he has no respect for the game. So
Okay, so yeah, I mean, like he ain't backing down. It doesn't seem like.
and then he put out the whole comments how he wants to get a pick six. Oh, he brung up, because he has a record for most pick sixes in Panthers history.
Yeah.
So he brung that up, and he brung up how he plans on getting one against Cam, and so.
So you're saying this, and I think you've just persuaded me, is that if this beef is kind of real,
I have no problem with it.
If there's like anything other than him just making this up out of the thin air, yeah, is that there must be something that precipitated this to where either he's just talking junk for no reason, or he really doesn't like Captain Munderland.
Which Captain Mutherland said in his interview that they shared a locker, they shared whatever, but it wasn't, they weren't friends like that. It was kind of you doing your own thing, I'm doing my own thing.
Right.
So, like I said, Captain started off saying, "Oh, I don't know why Josh Norman would say anything like that," and then he started, I guess he started getting upset too or whatever, but he went into it and kind of dissed Josh Norman back at the same time. So I think it had to be something there at all. Or else you would have just.
All right. And then he's saying he wants to get a pick six on Cam?
Yeah.
Shoot.
And he was talking about how he's still friends with some of the players, like him and Thomas Davis are brothers, and if he's your brother, I didn't like what he said after that. He said, "I won't text Thomas this week. Thomas will probably text me when they get here and ask if I want to get something to eat." But he pretty much made it seem like he wouldn't answer. Which, if that's like your brother, I don't see anything wrong with the whole going to eat the night before. Or, I don't know. If he's like your brother, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you would think that these guys have been playing football for so long that they can turn it on the field and then go out to dinner with each other.
Yeah,
whether
it's before the game. Well, I wouldn't really want to go after, because if I win, I'm gonna be a butthole. But if I lose,
you're gonna be a butthole.
Yeah. Which, if I lose, I'm gonna be salty, and I'm not gonna really want to talk to you anyway. Because that's me. Even just watching the Panthers, when we lose, family already know, man. I don't really want to talk like that. Just leave me alone for a little bit, and then I get over the game, and I'll be back to normal.
Well, you've been straight grumpy this year.
Exactly. Especially because my brother is a bandwagon Patriots fan, so I have to hear from him all the time. Oh yeah, the Panthers lost again, man.
Yeah.
I want to hear that. But what are some of your keys to beating the Vikings on Sunday?
Gosh. Thinking about a win right now has been so difficult, but I mean, the Minnesota Vikings, if you are going to win a game, you would think this would be the one. I said on Twitter a little while ago, it might be a little inappropriate, but somebody was putting a story up about how we could gain confidence against the Minnesota Vikings, and I said it's kind of like sleeping with the ugly chick to get your confidence back. You know what I mean? It's not like we're gonna take this win and we're gonna enjoy it, but we ain't gonna really tell our friends how much we really liked it.
Yeah. Wow. No indictment for Wilson is what I was looking at. Yeah. Which I'm not that surprised, but I'll leave that be, man. This ain't the place for that. But my keys to the game. I feel like we have to, first of all, stop the run, whether they're running with Asiato or McKinnon they signed Ben Tate, but they didn't use him. And I want to see if Teddy Bridgewater can try to beat us. Which, I mean, their receivers, they got what? Jennings, I see a lot. What happened to Cordell Patterson?
I don't understand this. This has to be the biggest disappointment of the entire season for any team, because he's supposed to have real wheels and be awesome, and they're not using him. And they've got North Turner, dude, as their damn offensive coordinator.
Which y'all ready, to make our offensive coordinator, but we'll leave that alone. um, but yeah,
If he
I didn't
can't
know.
use Cordell Patterson, we might need to start thinking twice about that mess. I mean, good Lord, why is this guy having such a bad season? Let me pull up the numbers. You go on with your points. I'll pull up Patterson's numbers.
Yeah, but I haven't heard. I thought he might have been out for the year or something. I haven't heard
I
about
know.
Cordell
I haven't
Patterson
heard his name once.
since like maybe week 2. But yeah, I rather see Teddy Bridgewater try to beat us with his arm. Um, do the Vikings still have Jared Allen? I don't keep up with the Vikings. Do they still have Jared Allen?
No, he's with Chicago now.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. We already played him. Okay, Justin Forsett scored for Baltimore for anybody watching. Uh, so Ravens got the lead back up on the Saints. But yeah. So only people I really know on their defense, I know Harrison Smith, safety. I know Captain, which I hope they put Captain on KB. If they do, KB better have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
They're gonna be. They are not gonna put no Captain Munnerlin on Kelvin Benjamin.
Who's their other corner? I don't know.
It don't matter who it is. He's got to be taller.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Is Captain Muttle? I don't even know if he's their number 1 corner. I know he's had about 2 picks in the past couple weeks. But if they put Captain on Kelvin Benjamin better have like 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, I'm not playing if they put him on him. But yeah, who else do I know in their defense?
Nobody.
What's the linebacker they got? They got one linebacker that's pretty good. Blonde-headed. I can't think of his name right now. But I don't. Like I said, I want to see if Teddy Bridgewater can beat us. If he can, hey, he can. But I just feel like we stop the run, we can win this game.
All right, I don't know what's wrong with Cordero Patterson, but he has had this season. He has only had 30 catches for 350 yards for 1 touchdown, and he's had one rushing touchdown.
Wow. And Cordell Patterson was everybody's pretty much breakout pick this year. I don't know what they're doing with him. Even in I watched their highlights from the Packers game. I didn't see him in not one highlight. I seen Greg Jennings. I seen what's the other receiver's name? Charles Johnson or whatever his name, something Johnson. I did not see Cordell Patterson in one highlight. So I don't. Is he hurt?
Says he got hurt in that game, in the last game, I think. But I mean, I don't know. No, look, it says he doesn't want to drop kick-off duties. So that means he's been returning kicks. Dude,
No
I mean, if you're returning kicks, you know you can only be so hurt.
Yeah.
I don't really see anything about like him being. You would think it would be the first thing that comes up.
Yeah, which. I mean, I know sometimes the
All right, so we are still live in this hangout. So let's just keep talking Carolina Panthers football. It's going against the Minnesota Vikings. What Straight Money was talking was that it's going to come down to Teddy Bridgewater looking to have a good game against Carolina. This is opportunity for this, a defense that hasn't necessarily done entirely too much to find find a moment to get some confidence, and that's what we'll hopefully be looking for, is that giving the Carolina Panthers offense enough time to find a little identity itself, something that struggled tremendously over the last couple of weeks. Cam Newton has just not been on target at all. I mean, he has had a terrible, in the 40% passing completion percentage over the last couple of weeks. But then it's also hard to be overly critical of Cam Newton at the same time, because he's been the only reason there's been anything uplifting about this team in the same vein. So what you have is the very reason for optimism has been struggling over the last couple of weeks, and that's a difficult thing for anyone to kind of deal with. So you can only be so upset with them. So I think that since the technical difficulties, this might be coming to an end. This is the Straight Facts podcast with MrTMoney1993. You're looking at the Professor, aka Tony Dunn from Carolina Cat Chronicles. And what we're going to get back on track next week is a look with the Carolina Panthers, how they're going to be related in the division. Right now, Baltimore is up by a touchdown over the New Orleans Saints, so that puts us in within a half game of. So what you have is a real opportunity to really be in the division, and it's kind of sad almost to a certain degree. But you can check us out next week, Monday, Straight Facts with MrTMoney1993. You can always find this on the C3 network, CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
It's the Speaker Knockers.